Irv and I are going to talk a little bit more about things in his life that are important, and particularly I want him to tell me about BayView and his years up there and the kind of things that he did to serve BayView, and also the kind of jobs he had when he wasn't singing and conducting music and so forth. So, Irv, that's what we're going to talk about, plus anything else that you think of that I perhaps didn't have in the first one. So, okay, Irv, let's go from there. You tell me about BayView, and I'll stop you and ask you questions.
Well, I never heard of BayView in my life till I came here in Ludington, and Mr. DeYoung, the superintendent, and his wife went to BayView, which is at Petoskey, every summer for 2 or 3 concerts. And he said, "I'd like to take you and Alice along sometime." Well, that never happened. But in the spring of 1958, the man who was the bass soloist and the bass singer there died. And Mr. DeYoung, because they put some money at BayView, they got all their publications. So he called me up and he said, "You ought to apply for the job." So I applied for the job, and I got it. I got the job, and what I was, they had a quartet, a soprano, an alto, tenor, and bass, and I was the bass. And we put on a whole series of concerts every Wednesday night all summer.
Did you have to interview, and did you have to audition to be accepted as?
Well, yes, I did. I thought I told you about that, but maybe I didn't. The man who was in charge of it was Harold Tallman from Wayne State University, and he was head of the music program at BayView. And I wrote him a letter saying who I was and what my education was, and I would be interested in the job. But I never heard back. I never got a no, yes, go jump in the lake or anything. So I just forgot about it. That was in the fall of 1958. So in the middle of the winter, along in February 1959, on a Sunday afternoon, the telephone rang. "This is Harold Tallman from BayView calling for you." "Oh," I said, "Yeah." He said, "Are you still interested in BayView?" Well, I said, I really don't know, because I wrote to you last fall and I never heard anything back, so I just forgot about it.
Yeah.
But if you're asking me now my interest, I'll say yes, I'm interested. Well, he said, "Can you get down here to sing for me on Friday?" And in Detroit.
Detroit, okay.
And I said, no, I can't do that. I'm employed. I just can't go running off to look for another job. So I said, "Tell you what I'll do though, I'll send you a tape, cassette tape with 3, well, it was a big reel tape then, with 3 songs on it, and you can see what you think about it." So I called up Irving Hansen and I said, "What are you doing this afternoon?" He said, "Nothing." I said, "Let's go down to your church. I'm going to bring 3 pieces of music and a tape recorder." I had a big Ampex tape recorder from the school.
Big reel to reel.
Took it down there. We made 3 songs. Monday morning I mailed the tape to Mr. Tallman in Wayne State, and by Friday I had a contract to sign.
Really, that quick?
That's just, I never did see the man. I never did see him till then he said, when he did this, he said, "I tell you what I'd like you to do. I'm giving you the contract, but I'd still like you to come down to Wayne State, because the Wayne State choir, college choir, always sings the 7 last words of Christ at the big Masonic temple in Detroit in the week of Palm Sunday. Can you do that?" I said, "Yeah, I can do that, because I've got that weekend off from school just like everybody else."
Yeah.
So I did go down there. Alice and I drove down, we stayed down there, and I sang the thing for the thing. Just had one quick rehearsal on Saturday, and we did it on Sunday, and when it was all over I came home.
Do you memorize the music, or do you have to have the music in front of you?
When we sing a normal concert, we sing from memory. But when you do an oratorio,
You want
you
the
almost
words.
always use the book. Not that you can't sing it without the book, but everybody else, all the chorus people, need the book, and you've got to keep following pages, see where you are, and yeah. So that's how I got the job.
I bet he was really impressed when you finally got there and you sang 7 last words of Christ for that audience.
Well, I must have done all right because I got the job.
I think you were more than all right.
I had the job actually. He already hired me, but he said, "Could you come down and do that? I'd just like to hear you." So, and they paid me $100 for coming down to do it.
Just
so,
to drive down there and back. Yeah,
yeah,
that was
so
nice.
it was okay. That's how I got to BayView. And,
Well, what were your duties there? Because you didn't just have the Wednesday night programs, you had other
Well,
duties to do too, because we went into your office.
BayView, like Epworth Heights, is a Methodist organization, and they have church services on Sunday mornings. Then we have a big Vesper concert on Sunday night with a choir of BayView people and people from the whole surrounding area up there. It's about 100 people in the choir up on the stage, and they sing 3 anthems during the evening, and each of the soloists comes out and does one of his things. And then you take we had a string quartet, they would play something, and we had double piano, they would play that. That would be the Sunday evening concert. They call it Vesper concerts.
They have Vespers here at Epworth too.
Yeah.
On Sunday.
Well, I don't think they could at all in any way compare with this on a regular basis.
Oh no, because theirs was outdoors.
Yeah. Well, it was very interesting because the auditorium at BayView was built in 1915, and they built it with windows that would open like this. You pull the chain and the window open, and while we were having a concert in there on Sunday night, there'd be people sitting on the grass outside listening. They didn't want to pay $5 to get in. They'd sit on the grass outside. Yeah, I had that. So our duties were, we had to sing for this Sunday morning church service 2 anthems. So we practiced those during the week. Then we all practiced on our own things that we were going to do during the week. And that was about it. That was about my responsibility.
Didn't you have other responsibilities at the organization? Because we went into your office once I was there.
Well, I started this in 1959. And by the time 25 years went by, I think it was 1982 or 83, I think, I decided to retire. These people have been listening to me for 25 years. I'm 62. It's time to change. So I did. And at the same time that I was going to leave, they were getting a new conductor for the music program who knew nothing about BayView. Of course, I'd now been there 25 years, and so I knew a little bit about what was going on. So they asked, wouldn't I come back and run the office? Be the assistant to the director.
Sure.
So that's what I did for another 20 years. They asked me to do it for 1 year. I stayed 20 years doing it.
20 years as the assistant.
Yeah, so I had, I think, 44 years total time at BayView. And
That's pretty special to have spent that much time serving that community of people, both as a music conductor and singer, as well as a director of
I really didn't direct anything. I wasn't choir director or anything like that.
You were just a participant. But
I was a singer, and yeah, and
what about Alice? Did she help you? Did
she sang in a choir.
Oh, she sang in the choir. She didn't
Yeah.
play the piano or anything like that.
No, well, yes, she did too. They had every morning at 10 o'clock during the week, they had a little worship service over in the smaller auditorium, Voorhees Hall they call it. Seats about 280 people. And they would have the guest preacher for the week conduct these little services in there, and she would play the piano for that, sometimes.
Well, then she had activities that she could participate in, so she wasn't just there without
Oh, she did a lot of
responsibility.
participation in, every summer BayView also did a musical, My Fair Lady, all those things. I was Oklahoma.
Oklahoma?
I was in Oklahoma. I was the bad guy.
He was a bad.
Yeah, I was a bad guy in Oklahoma. Then we did Showboat, and that's how I got to be known as Mr. Bayview, Old Man River, up there.
Okay.
Everybody knew that that was my signature song.
By the way, do you still have a video or a tape of you singing that?
I've got a tape of it. That was right at here.
You know, I couldn't find it.
It's got to be on one of them. I hope it's on the one I gave you.
It wasn't on that one. I checked it all. There were.
Because I played it the day before on my car thing.
You did?
Yeah.
I'll go back and look at it again. There were 2 tracks that were blank. You only had about 8 seconds on it, and it didn't record those. The first one was the longer one. There was, I forget time-wise, but it was quite a lengthy production.
Yeah.
And then the last one was fairly long too, but not as long as the first one. And then there was another one in the middle, but 2 of them were essentially blank.
Then we also had, I saw there was a duet on there by a tenor and I, the tenor that was at BayView at the time. That was on there. I recorded those all on that tape after the season was over, and just a few of us were left. We went in the auditorium and made it.
Made the tape.
Yeah. So.
You'll have to check the green one, which is the one you let me take,
Yeah.
and see whether or not there's information on there about Old Man River, because I was looking for it.
Well, it's there. There's no question
Well,
about
if you
it.
find it, tell me which track it is, then I'll, I'll take it
Well,
off.
it's right next to the very last song, and I don't know what number track it
Well,
is.
there are about 6 tracks.
Well, there's a lot more than 6 songs on there. On that tape. That tape's almost an hour long.
Well, 40 minutes of it is the first track,
Yeah.
and so
So, well, let's
we'll play. All right,
move along here. What are we going to do now?
I'm going to turn this
You want
off.
me to- Okay.
I'm going to play Scrabble.
I can tell you more about BayView, but
Do you want to? You can.
well, let's let it go for right now.
All right.